Welcome back to Wildwood, New Jersey, and Thunder on the Beach. First round action in the books. Some breakage has caused a change in the lineup for the second round. Track conditions are holding up really well.
The track conditions here are pretty good. Well, we didn't know what to expect, but the sand seems to have a little cushion to it, and the trucks can actually, once it jumps the first set of cars, we can bite into it and get it hooked up good to head for the finish line.
Well, the Devils, Dodge, and Wildfire had some mechanical problems. They can't come back. Carolina Crusher and U.F.O. will match up in the second round, and this round right here starts off with David Morrison, the Equalizer, up against the Warrior out of Philadelphia. Now, we had breakage, and we had some quick times turned in round number one, so to get the field back on track, some guys have gone back to the trailer. Other guys are still going to continue. Picture-perfect run by David Morrison, the Equalizer. Had a good start, didn't overpower the track, kept the tires on the track, and he picks up the win, and he moves on to the next round. The Warrior, a little bit of problem off the line, tried to get it at half track, come back to take the win, but it's not going to go. Morris, Equalizer. Carolina Crusher matches up right now against the U.F.O. This should be a good one. Some guys had some problems in earlier rounds, come back to battle here. Wiggins has been on the circuit for a number of years. Bob Fisher in the U.F.O. out of New Jersey, the hometown hero, hopes to make it into another round right here on Thunder on the Beach. 10,000-pound monster trucks running on sand, and everything has turned out picture perfect as far as the competition surface is concerned. Bob Fisher out of New Jersey, the pilot of the U.F.O., hopes to become the hometown hero as he matches up against the circuit touring veteran Gary Wiggins and Carolina Crusher. The Ford against the Chevrolet. U.F.O. the Ford in the far lane, and Crusher in the near lane. Wiggins will take the victory, but just by a bumper. The Crusher gets a good one there as they go side by side. Fisher goes back to the trailer. Gary Wiggins goes on into round number 3.
Well, basically, the track really worked out real good today, a lot better than we figured it would. I mean, it's basically kind of hard to work on something that really you've never been on before. And it was real puzzling, but really now, after we've been on it, I feel like it was a real great track. I mean, super great.
Well, that concludes our last chance qualifier round for those guys that... Colt Cobra owns it, Ricky Rattler drives it, and they're ready for the next round as they match up against Bigfoot.
Yeah, we had a really good track out here today. We're just going to have to gear down, see maybe if we can't keep down over the first set of cars, get some good traction between the cars, and just let the Ford motor come alive, pull itself out.
It's a battle of Ford versus Ford as Bigfoot comes to the line. Lonnie Childress up there on the far lane. In the near lane, it's Ricky Rattler in the Colt Cobra-owned snakebite truck. And real important here, you got to keep the tires down to the ground. We saw Gary Wiggins pick up a win in his last appearance because he kept the truck low. If you're in the air, it may look good for those Kodak moments, but you got to build horsepower. You got to have the horsepower transferred to the ground. Both of these two guys have ridden all over the United States on a number of different tracks, so this should be a great matchup here. Lonnie Childress, far side in Bigfoot, Ricky Rattler in the snakebite. A little advantage to the Ford. Bigfoot off the starting line, but Ricky Rattler made a good charge in snakebite towards the very end. Give the round to the Bigfoot truck. Lonnie likes this track because it's got a long distance in between the two car jumps, and he can get all the power out of that Bigfoot Ford motor.
Actually gives us a lot more time to correct the truck with the longer pass. This is the same track that you see the point series running. So it's a good track, it's a long track, gets the trucks up to speed, and people get to see what's going on. But like I said, you got that much room between the cars, you got a lot more time to get.
Gary Wiggins, the Carolina Crusher, boy, he's been lucky today. Had problems with the ignition in the early rounds, but was able to come back in the consolation round. He moves on right now up against David Morris.
Well, right now, as of today, what I'll probably do is now, because the temperature and everything down here, I'm going to kind of like lean the motor out a little bit, and I'll probably drop my tire pressure down a little bit. Change a few things on the truck that I didn't do today because I feel like I can do it without braking a whole lot. So I feel like this track here, though, is going to be real good. There's going to be some real good racing on it because the truck's going to really prepare for it tonight.
David Morris, the Equalizer, Gary Wiggins' round opponent. These guys both have got everything dialed in, so it's going to be driving ability as opposed to driving style that's going to be able to find out who goes into the next round. Gary Wiggins, the far side, out of Waitsboro, North Carolina, the Carolina Crusher. And out of Tennessee, it's David Morris in the Equalizer. Round 3 action here from Wildwood, New Jersey, on Thunder on the Beach. As these guys get set to stage, it's going to be the whole shot and putting the horsepower in between the two sets of cars who will determine the winner. David Morris will take the win on the Equalizer. What a side-by-side matchup it was. Morris may have had the better driving style that time to get around the driving ability of Gary Wiggins. This one may deserve a better look as they came off the line real close together. Let's take one more pass at it. As you see him come off the line, Gary Wiggins and the Crusher very, very high, where Morris stays low to the ground. The horsepower transfer to the ground is what you need to become a winner right here on Thunder on the Beach.
The track here is a little bit longer than some of the outdoor tracks we run on. So what we'll do is we'll soften the shocks up, and that will absorb the ramp and the impact on the ramp, and we'll try to keep the truck lower to the ground instead of getting.
Moving on to find out who's going to be the best in the beach. It is Dennis Anderson and the Graye Digger up against Tom Meents and the Monster Patrol. These guys are trying to work out their course setup and dialing in their vehicles.
Do a little change on our tires, on our fuel system as well, and I'm going to step the gear back down. I think I was running geared a little too high, and it really depends on the track. If we keep a lot of sun and wind blowing on it, it's going to really be sandy and dry. If we can keep a lot of moisture in the track, we can get these big things to hook up and use our motors in.
Dennis Anderson may have the upper hand in this matchup. He's probably got more seat time than the rest of the field combined. This guy's been in monster truck racing for a whole lot of years. But don't take anything away from Tom Meents and Monster Patrol. He's a former mud racer, and he knows when the green flag flies, you put the pedal to the metal, and you try to get down to the other end. A good matchup here. Tom Meents in the near lane in the Monster Patrol out of Illinois, and the Graye Digger. Dennis Anderson behind the wheel out of North Carolina. Two real good but different type of driving styles on the way. This should be a good matchup here in the third round. Both drivers have had equal trips up and down the track. Both guys have had plenty of time to get their race set up. This will be a good head-to-head matchup here, and it's going to come down to driving style and who leaves first. You may call it an upset. Tom Meents and the Monster Patrol takes it away from Dennis Anderson. They came off the line. Maybe Meents with just a little bit more coming off the line. Let's take another look at this one side by side at the best. And you can see it. Meents with a good lead in between the cars. The power on the ground, maybe a little high at the end, but hey, he's moving on to the next round. He's a winner.
Oh, it was a fierce run between two great competitors, and I think we narrowly pulled it out at the end there. Oh, it's the one thing about it is you got so much distance, and when you come to the last cars, you're almost out of speed, and you nosedive a little bit down there.
Stay tuned when we come back to semifinals and the finals as Wheel Power continues from Thunder on the Beach.